To all Black women of America, I want to express my heartfelt apology for the role that many white Americans, including white women, played in electing Donald Trump. I recognize the pain and frustration that this has caused in Black communities and the ways this outcome has undermined the rights, the safety, and the dignity of so many, especially Black women. I understand that Black women have long fought for justice and equity, not just for themselves, but for all marginalized communities. And your commitment to truth, resilience, and progress is truly inspiring. As a white person, I'm aware that part of my responsibility is to listen, learn, and actively challenge systems that harm and marginalize. And it's clear that actions speak louder than words. I'm still committed to doing the work necessary to help build a future where all voices are heard and respected. Thank you for your continued strength and leadership. I'm committed to being an ally and creating positive, lasting changes so that we can all live equally in this country. To all of the white women who let everyone else down, check back with me in 4 years. I'm sorry for your daughters. I'm sorry for your sisters that you made a choice to vote a convicted criminal into the presidency. You complain about crime committed by people who came to this country to seek a new life, but you weren't worried about putting a criminal in office again. You must be aware that he's about to use his power to save himself and to save every insurrectionist who was sentenced as a result of the insurrection. You are truly about to see what misuse of power looks like.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. So guys, over the years of Black women holding it down, fighting for justice, mobilizing voters, and calling out racism at every time, some white women are coming out with apology, especially those women who voted in for Donald Trump, those MAGA voters. Right now, they're coming in apologizing to the Black people because the Black women, they told them that not to vote in for this administration, but the white women, they didn't listen. So kindly guys, watch this video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
Hey, fellow white women who voted for Kamala, this is not our opportunity to use Black women to ask them to do the labor of providing us with comfort and alleviating our fear and anxiety over the election. We're also not going to come to Black women expecting them to give us a pat on the back and say, we know you're not one of the bad ones. You did what you could, hun. And also, it is not our place to go to Black women when they are criticizing white women. I mean, have you looked at the numbers? And to tell them, not me, it wasn't me, I'm one of the good ones. Stop putting that on Black women. Stop it. Don't do it. If you've got big feelings of fear and trepidation about the future, about our rights as women, if you have intense anger and disappointment at other white women, shame about our demographic, stop asking Black women to manage those feelings for you. You are a grown-ass woman and you get to deal with them. And then how you can turn those feelings into effective strategic action.
Ooh, a lot to unpack here. At first, I had no intention of responding to this comment. And then I thought this could be a good opportunity to call in my fellow white people. Let's have a chat. My expectations aren't high, but I hope that you choose to stick around with an open heart, mind, and ears. No one on the face of this planet has ever asked you or I to apologize for the color of our skin. We didn't request to be born with white skin. We didn't own enslaved peoples. We didn't create a white supremacist world. But guess who did? Our ancestors, our people. And it's a world that we benefit from, not because we're exceptional, not because we were born inherently better than somebody who has darker complexion, but solely because we were born into a world that puts whiteness on a pedestal. In the same way that Black, Indigenous, and other people of color did not request to be born into a world that oppresses them solely because of the color of their skin. Therefore, it is our jobs to both disrupt and dismantle those systems. Imagine with me for a second a world where white people came to this realization together. And instead of getting defensive when someone brings up that something we have said or done is racist or harmful to their community, that instead of centering ourselves in literally everything, we actually just stepped back and listened, that instead of pretending like we have been told to feel sorry for the color of our skin, that we instead had a fire lit inside of us and we said, you know what? You didn't create this world that we live in. I didn't create this system in this world that we live in. Let's fucking dismantle it together. Just imagine what we could accomplish. Unfortunately, that might be a pipe dream, because instead what we do is ignore, deflect, make excuses, and uphold white supremacy because it benefits us. So no, I'm not gonna apologize for being white, but what I will do is use that whiteness, use that leverage to help tear this shit down, because I'm tired. Black people are tired. Indigenous people are tired. White people, let's do better.
Welcome back to another episode of A White Woman Talks About Race Because Black Women Are Tired. The comment reads, I think it would be cool if we heard this from them instead of a white woman speaking for them. And I agree. I wish we were hearing this from them, but we're not listening. And since we're not listening, you're stuck listening to me. Black women have spent years and decades and lives and centuries trying to educate us, trying to fight for us, the collective us, and we have not been listening to them. As a white woman, if I am ever caught speaking over Black women, I hope you will call me out and call me out swiftly. However, I think that there is a difference between speaking over Black women versus expecting Black women to continue to do the labor of educating us when they have been saying the same thing for decades and we haven't been listening. It is time for us to stop relying on their labor and to bring the conversation back home, to start having it amongst ourselves, to start having it within our community, and to start having it within ourselves. Because if we pay attention to what Black women have been saying, then we would recognize that blue bracelets are the same as we understand the assignment. They're the same as putting a black square on Instagram. If we've been listening to Black women, then we don't need them to step in and tell us that we're doing the same damn thing. And again, we should never speak over Black women on Black issues, but as white women, we need to be talking about white issues. And racism is a white issue. It is a white thing. We are the ones doing it. We are the ones perpetuating it. We need to start having these conversations in ways that aren't just shame circles that feel a lot like an AA meeting. We need to just be talking about it woman to woman, talking about it frankly, talking about it without immediately putting up walls of defense. Racism is a white issue. We cannot rely solely on Black women and Black educators to solve the issue of race. In fact, we can't rely on them at all because they're not the issue. We are. So we need to start relying on ourselves. We need to start taking the burden off of them to educate us and look at all of the educating that they've already done and start listening to it, start talking amongst each other about it. Because if we constantly wait for them to educate us and then we don't listen when they do, we're not moving anywhere. We're not helping anyone. We're not being the solidarity that we think we are. In the same way that we cannot solve issues of sexism and sexual assault until men start having conversations and holding each other accountable for the actions that they are doing, we cannot make any difference until we start holding each other accountable and calling others out before Black women have to get involved and call us out, right? A man does not have to wait for a woman to say, hey, that was a rape joke, that's inappropriate, for a man to step in and call it out. We understand that. So why do we think that the same is not true amongst ourselves when we're talking about race and how we inflict racism on Black women?
I was a federal worker who had 1 month left of her probationary period, and today I was told that I was terminated at some point this week. I'm utterly devastated. I'm confused because my recent performance evaluation was exceptional and I got upwards of $1,500 as a bonus because my performance was so good. And this was my dream job, and it's just being taken away by an administration who doesn't care about science. It doesn't care about people who might be homeless with their dog now. They don't care about our species that we're trying to conserve. That's exactly what my job was doing. It was just to assess habitat conservation for species for a 55-year habitat conservation plan. We should all be so mad right now. We should all be crying like this because I'm just devastated.
So the actor from Shazam, who is a Trump supporter, went on Fox News last night to plead with Elon Musk not to fire any Trump supporters from the federal workforce. Here is what Zachary Levi said to Jesse Waters last night on primetime. Quote, Doge is complicated, ... There are good people that voted for Donald Trump who are losing their job, ... We got to make sure that we don't leave those folks behind, end quote. Sorry, Shazam, but that's not how this works. The good people who are being left behind are those who voted against Donald Trump, who were trying to warn their fellow MAGA employees that this would happen if Donald Trump got elected. Those are the people who don't deserve to lose their jobs. But as for the Trump supporters who are now getting fired as a result of Elon Musk's Doge, they effed around at the ballot box, and now they're finding out.
Hey Elon, Doge, I got some big news. I just found some potentially massive fraud. Oh wait, it looks like it's from you. So the Doge team has promised for a while that they were going to put up examples of the spending that they had cut and the savings that they had brought America. So they finally put up their first example, and you got to check this out. This post is from Jamie Dupree. He writes, the Doge team is finally posting examples of where they've cut spending. This one claims $8 billion in savings. You can see the $8 billion in big numbers right over there. But if you look at the fine print in the upper right, it's a contract that is instead valued at $8 million. Let me just zoom in for you so you can see what it actually reads on the contract, $8 million. And by the way, that's a ceiling. That's the most that the contract could potentially be valued. It also looks like this is a multi-year contract. But here's where the fraud comes in. So when journalists pointed this out, it appears that Doge tried to cook the books in order to change the actual numbers. Jamie Dupree followed up writing, the top is what it looked like a few hours ago. Now someone has gone in and changed 8 million to 8 billion in the FPDS system. Also, the dates are now different. And you could see here that magically that $8 million is now $8 billion. Then when Doge was called out for that, they changed the website to remove the screenshot entirely. Now, first off, this should have been apparent that this was BS on its face. What small business is possibly getting $8 billion from the government? But we thought, you know what, let's investigate this. Let's reach out to the company and see what they have to say. Is Doge lying about this? So guess what? We did. So here's what the company told us. D&G Support Services, doing business as D&G Solutions, acknowledges that the previously reported contract value of $8 billion was incorrect. This discrepancy appears to have resulted from a clerical error in the original government filing upon contractor award. The contract value had a ceiling, $8 million. D&G is proud to maintain long-term contracts with the federal government, providing integrated logistics and supply chain solutions. We remain committed to excellence and a one-team, one-fight approach to our customers, their missions, and our country. So it's becoming very obvious right now that Doge's supposed savings are all kind of total BS. Meanwhile, these small businesses are getting screwed. People are losing their jobs. Also, that Elon Musk could try to free up some money to give billionaires a $4.5 trillion tax cut.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's had a nice weekend. I had a good Valentine's Day, good long weekend. I made a video a few days ago, asking why there seemed to be so much anger directed towards federal employees and why so many people seem to be almost celebrating their being fired. And several people in those comments asked me if I could do a follow-up video if I got any real answers. And I did, amongst a bunch of other ones that weren't. Short answer is this: there seems to be a lot of people who believe there's bloat and waste in the government, and that firing of federal employees is going to fix that. It's going to help with that. It's not going to fix it, but it's going to help with that. But the problem is that it doesn't actually help a ton because their salaries don't make up but a small part of our budget. Then not an answer, but providing more context. There's a lot of people that seem to be conflating or confusing federal employees with congressional offices or politicians like Congress and federal employees all being the same thing. And that's not what this is. We're talking about people who work for our government that don't work for Congress, that work, and they work all over the country. They work all over our country. They work in your national park. They work, you know, as doctors and nurses. They work for the Veterans Affairs. They do all kinds of really important work. They work for the FBI. They do, you know, whatever. And those are not the same thing as congressional offices. So basically, we need to listen better, I think, is more what it is. And we need to unite ourselves rather than trying to be so angry at each other and be angrier at the people who aren't giving us correct information. And I think that's a huge part of it. So anyway, so there it is. There's a lot of people who think that there's bloat and waste in the government. And there is, and I don't think any federal employee would disagree with that, honestly. I think most federal employees would say, yes, there are ways that we need to change things, and yes, there are things that we could cut and whatever else, but they're cutting the employees themselves isn't actually going to help. It's not going to help enough. It's not going to help very much at all. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.
I am so freaking pissed off right now. I just left my DHS office. I had a review because somebody else has reported me to my caseworker to the state of Michigan because I get over $4,000 in food stamps. I get almost $2,000 in cash benefits. And because I am making money on TikTok, they don't believe I should be able to get welfare. Well, come to find out, if you own a home or own any type of property, you are supposed to report that to your caseworker because they take that into consideration. So because we own our own home and because we own 3 vehicles, they are now taking everything away unless I sell all my assets. So if you own any assets and you receive welfare, you might want to report it or you're going to get cut off. So I either have to sell my home and my vehicles or lose my benefits. And that is not fucking fair. That is not fair. So you're saying to receive benefits, I can't have nice things. Those are my benefits. Mine. I should be able to have nice things.
Hey, I'm gonna do you a solid right now, okay? I really want you to send them this video, alright? Alright, just send this to them, alright? They thought they were climbing out of that bucket, didn't they? Turns out we're all fucking crabs, bitch. We're all crabs, and this water's getting slowly hotter and hotter. They voted for him in absence of fact, in defiance of fact. They sought out alternative information that supported their bias. But what was the bias? Why were they so goddamn inclined to Donald Trump? Why did they fall prey to him? It's bigotry! Yeah, they have a latent superiority bias. They think they are the exceptions and they will be spared. No, my friends, you are actually victims alongside the rest of us. The people you thought you were targeting, you actually turned that on yourself. Point the finger, how many are pointing back at you? Oh yeah, maybe next time you will take your arrogance down a notch. Maybe next time you'll listen to the people who are the most victimized and pay attention to what they say and not fall prey to propaganda about wokeness when you don't even fucking know what the word means. Let me outline it for you. It just means aware of the social inequities and disparities that exist in our culture. Ones that are about to become painfully obvious to you too, you cunts. But see, here's the thing. We are what they made us. We're not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with us. Yeah. Try getting that trust back. Ooh, that's not happening. So while you're starving to death without your Social Security, I just want you all, both of you, to remember that we had this conversation and that you get no sympathy from us. None. Because you were so blatantly self-absorbed. So selfish, so arrogant, you get nothing. You get to starve. Cheers! And maybe in a few years, when things really get shitty, maybe then someone on our side will go, oh, you know, I've realized I want to be a bigger person than I can afford to be, so maybe I'll help some folks out. But I'm going to prioritize my help for the people who need it the most. That being the people who are going to be the most victimized by this whole thing that you've caused. So I'm going to prioritize my help to people like trans folks, brown folks. Yeah, you're last on the list. These are the consequences of your actions.
This is for all of the MAGA folk who are crying right now because they've been fired. Why are you doing that? I honestly don't understand why. You voted for this. This is exactly what you wanted. This is exactly what he said he was going to do. They even had a handbook. Project 2025. You know, the thing that you didn't believe was a thing? The thing that he said he wasn't associated with, so you just believed him for some reason, even though many of the people around him is associated with that in one way or another. But you were just like, nope. King Cheeto said he's not associated with it. He must not be. How do you feel about that now? How do you feel about that now? Great again? Doesn't look like it.
So my MAGA mom, who watches Fox News nonstop, had her find out moment on Valentine's Day. She doesn't get out much. She has a lot of health problems. But she got herself together and they were going to go out to dinner at their favorite Mexican restaurant in town. However, when they got there, apparently it's been shut down for good. Shut down. So I said to her, because I know they were all Hispanic and I know they all came from Mexico because the owner was extremely wealthy and he would go back from time to time to Mexico. It was a restaurant we'd gone out to, I'm going to go 30 years, you know, love it. Excellent food. And I said, you think it had anything to do with the fact that they were Hispanic and from Mexico?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there is no scenario in which the deconstruction of America plays out where it does not hurt us as people. There is not a scenario in which this plays out where any good comes from it. This will, mark my words, it will end with war. Whether or not that is a class war, whether or not that is a civil war, or whether or not that is us overthrowing an authoritarian government, it will end badly. So we need to prepare, we need to decide, are we going to take care of their problem and just each other? Or are we going to come together and them? Because at this point, we're out of options. Yeah, we can take back the house in April. We might not have till April. Like, I feel like everybody knows how, well, not everybody apparently, but I feel like those of us who know how bad this is, but like at the same time, we're almost in denial. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen as fast as we think it is. Yes, the fuck it is. So we need to prepare. We need to plan, because at some point they are going to cut the internet. They are going to cut the power. They are going to take away our forms of communication, of planning and establishing. And when that happens, we need to take to the streets. We need to shut this shit down. Because if every single person, or at least 75% of Americans, if we all come together and we're in the fucking streets, what are they gonna do? No one's working, no one's spending money, no one is lining their fucking pockets. So just know that this is going to end in war. This is not going to end well. And we need to come together as Americans. I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're tan, I don't give a fuck if you are a trans individual or a gay individual. We are people, we are Americans, and we have to come together, because this shit is not going to end good for anybody. Even if you are on the wrong side of history right now, this shit will not end well for you. So, get it the fuck together. Let's come up with a plan, because I feel like people are still excited about summer. They're like, ooh, summer's coming. No, it's not. Like, in the words of Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Even though it's fucking winter right now, I hope you get the point. Because it's not like we're all just going to be out here on the beach this summer. Like, we're all going to be fighting for our goddamn freedom. We're all going to be fighting for our rights. We are all going to be fighting for a better world for our kids to grow up in. And it sucks because I really feel like at the heart of it, we all want similar things. Y'all just want to control everybody else and make them believe all the way you do, and we just want people to exist and be their authentic selves. But at the end of the day, I think that we all want a better and safer world for our children to grow up in. And right now, with the authoritarian takeover that's happening, the coup that is happening, that y'all are denying, we will never get there. And I don't know about you, but I want my 5-year-old to grow up. Period. In a world where he is not discriminated against or treated less than because he has the most beautiful skin complexion ever. So, class war, civil war, or overthrowing the government. Let's do this.
I'm going to say this as former MAGA, someone that knows it better than anybody else. I spent 4 fucking years defending that asshole in the Oval Office. You want to know how you beat them, how we beat them, how we tear these fascists down? Stop making them comfortable. You make them as uncomfortable as possible. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. What happened 6 years ago today? Some crazy kid, some crazy 19-year-old walked onto the campus of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School and killed 17 beautiful souls. 17 innocent people on Valentine's Day. And every time these mass shootings would happen, I felt this feeling in my mind like, oh my God, it is the guns, because nobody else has this problem. But I didn't want to admit it, but there's a part of me, like in my subconscious, that was like, this really is the guns. And it would make me so goddamn uncomfortable. It would make me so uncomfortable to the point where I wish they would not talk about it, but we need to talk about it, okay? Because if it was up to us, okay, Nicholas Cruz wasn't 21, shouldn't have had a rifle. We support that. AR-15s, banned. Nobody should be able to own one. Red flag laws, which we, I think, actually have in Florida now. I'm not 100% sure, but we support those. There were red flags. There were serious mental health issues. The police came to his house many times. Guys, he should not have had access to a firearm. And if you're a Democrat, it's not your fault. It is purely the Republicans' fault. And that is why I'm saying you need to make them feel uncomfortable. You cannot make them feel comfortable. You cannot give them an ounce of comfort. I'm not saying be violent, but make them feel uncomfortable. Confront them with the facts. I'm going to give you another one that always used to make me feel uncomfortable when I was a conservative. It's something that someone posted in my comments the other day, and that was that Republicans will love you when you're a fetus, but hate you when you are born. And we're talking about the fact that the Republicans are literally proposing cutting the Medicaid program. Medicaid is what orphans depend on. Orphans. This is why I say such brash statements that MAGA do not like black people, or that MAGA do not like poor people, or they don't like gay people. Because they are getting rid of programs that these people depend on. That is why we tell them to their face, you don't like black people, do you? Like, you're not a fan. We can't make them comfortable. That is the last thing we should be doing. And again, I'm not saying be violent. I'm saying make them feel uncomfortable. Make them want to crawl out of their skin with these facts. Because deep down inside, they know. At least a conscious one. Someone who has help, like someone who can be helped, they know. Trust me, that was me. Okay? Make them uncomfortable. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this, and share it with your friends. And that'll tell them.
Good morning, friends. This is Aaron Stone. To anyone who's listening, to anyone who cares, this message is for those who serve at the behest of the president, who's now considered a clear and present danger by the Canadian government and by the European nations. It's time you turn your back. If you work the gates, it's time you turn your back. If you turn on the lights, it's time to turn them off. If you serve food, it's time to walk out. If you drive him anywhere, it's time to throw away the keys. If you fly him anywhere, it's time to land the plane. It's time, if you're a sniper, to turn your rifle and put it down. Because whatever you were serving, whatever you were think you were serving, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, I'm pretty sure you didn't expect us to want to invade our allies on the whim of a psychotic. He's a clear and present danger. And sadly, sometimes the end justifies the means. And the end is hopefully to win back democracy, to win back our freedom, to win back normalcy. If you're in the military, I have no idea, I have no concept of the pain and suffering that you've gone through. I can only imagine what it's like to take directions from a psychotic as well as an alcoholic who doesn't deserve to be in his position. You have a mission. Your mission was to protect us from all terrorists, to protect us, to really understand that those people that gave their lives for this country didn't do it to protect the life of a despot. You know your mission. You know what you need to do. It's sad that it's come to this. But laws don't matter. Rules don't matter. We have a despot. And it's up to those that are within the power to turn their back. And for those who still have some power to become a hero. History's watching. The world is watching. We need a hero. This is Aaron Stone. Please spread this message. If you work in the government, please turn around. And if you know anyone who works in the government, make sure they see this. This is no longer a joke. We can't wait for the feckless politicians, Democrats or Republicans. They're fearful. Everyone's fearful. It's time. It's time.
I think Zelenskyy has just played Trump. I might be wrong, but I think he has. I think by going out there and saying that Trump is living in a disinformation space has baited Trump to then come back and react like Trump does with a war of words, accusing Zelenskyy of being a dictator and saying, frankly, ridiculous things. What does this achieve? It means that the US can absolutely not be a mediator in peace talks because it is being openly hostile with one of the parties. And that means all of Trump's plans in order to portray himself as the big third party who can come in and make a deal, he's blown it himself because he got baited into a war of words and everyone sees that he is actually on one side. And that means that it essentially is going to have to pull in other parties like Europe, like China, the States still, but the dynamics are totally different now. And Zelenskyy stood up to him and called him out, and Zelenskyy will also know that Democrats and Republicans alike within the US power structures think that the US should be supporting Ukraine to re-establish its sovereignty. So by baiting Trump out even further means that Trump is going to be in a mess with his own party at home. So it's a ballsy move, but at the same time, Zelenskyy didn't have much to lose after Trump made it pretty clear that he was just going to be echoing Russian disinformation and trying to get at Ukraine's resources. And in fact, this, I believe, and I thought this before I saw this war of words, I thought Russia had already messed up by being too effective with Donald Trump and implanting their thinking into Donald Trump too strongly, so it looks like the man is completely captured rather than coming to it from a different angle. So I think Russia have messed up and Trump has messed up, and Zelenskyy has put down a strong hand, and now the game just changes because it's not going to be on the terms that Trump was hoping to make it on.
Dear Americans, let me ask you a question. This is your favorite German fool speaking again. Don't forget to follow me. And this question doesn't come from anger, or it is a kind of, resentment, but is the I didn't vote for Trump, is that the new I didn't vote for Schmittler, like German people said after the war? When Adolf Schicklgruber came to power in 1933. This happened by election. And the Schmazis, they still were a minority, but they were a brutal and loud and ruthless minority. And many people even made fun of him. And the vast majority, they just didn't care. So it happened. And things changed quickly, as we all know. Nobody expected this man would be in office for a long time. Everybody expected that, yeah, he would be gone in a couple of months. But once again, we all know how this ended. And this is why I ask you this question, because in some time your kids and your grandkids will come to you and ask you, where were you when all this happened? What did you do? Which side were you on? And you will have to explain this. And this is going to be really hard for you. Because what I see right now is, like in Germany at that time, a lot of people complying. And that's the biggest problem. It's not being against or for this, it's just silently complying. Where are the marches, the demonstrations, the rallies? You know, I'm talking about these big things, not some people standing around somewhere. Where are they? I didn't see that during the election period, and I don't see it now. Just feeling bad or feeling ashamed, this doesn't change nothing. And silently complying, this doesn't change anything.
So guys, I hope you have watched that video from white women. They're now coming out and asking for forgiveness, or they're apologizing to the black women because they didn't listen to them. Majority of the black women, they want them not to vote in for Donald Trump, but these white women, they didn't listen. They vote in for Donald Trump because of MAGA, because Donald Trump, he was saying, make America great again. So Donald Trump policy, these people, they thought that Donald Trump policy, it is only going to affect the black people, but Donald Trump policy, it is affect entire all people, not only the black people, it is affect all people. And I can probably tell you that over 90% of women who voted, they vote out for Donald Trump. They didn't vote in for Donald Trump. Over 90% of black women, they didn't vote for Donald Trump. So these people, they voted for Kamala Harris, and the white people, they didn't want Kamala Harris because of the color. You know, majority of them, they were saying Kamala Harris is not a white person, is a black person. So they decided to go in and vote for Orange Man. You can imagine. So they didn't listen to the black people. So they thought that because black people, they are going to vote in for Kamala Harris, or they thought that black people, they are going to vote for their own. But the black people, they were going to vote in for a good administration, because Kamala Harris, she was having a good plan for America, but the white people, they didn't care about Kamala Harris, so they went ahead and voted for Orange Man. So the Orange Man policy, they thought it is going to affect only the black people, but Orange Man policy, it is now affecting all people. We have seen of Orange Man, Donald Trump administration. Right now, they're deporting illegal immigrant, and because of them deporting illegal immigrant, it has affected the economy, because right now the Americans people, they are having shortage of workers. You can imagine, yeah. For we had those workers who they were doing. We had those. They had those workers who they were working in the farms. So these people, they were paying low wages, and these undocumented or illegal immigrant, they were not choosing any jobs to do. These people, they were doing jobs, and because of that, it made a lot of growth, and it made a lot of things to become cheap in America. But right now, American, it is deporting these undocumented or illegal immigrant people in their country. So it has made life to become more difficult, because those people who are working, those illegal immigrants who are working in the farms, they are no more. So what the farmers right now they are doing, it is they are going now to hire their own white people, and because of that, they are white people, they cannot just take the low wages that the illegal immigrant they were taking. So they ended up charging more wages, and because of that, life it has become expensive, and life it has somehow become very hard. And we have seen also some people they are losing also some people they are losing their jobs. Yeah, we have seen also some basic necessities some of the white people they cannot afford, simply because of how Donald Trump policy it has affect all people. And because of that, we are now seeing these white folks coming out and asking apology to the black people. And for me, I can tell you, is the black people really care about these apologies that the white folks they are coming out and apologizing right now? Because right now it is too late. Yeah, right now it is too late. The black people they raise, the black women they have always raised all these issues. They were always warning the white folks not to vote in for Donald Trump administration, but these people they didn't listen. Why are they coming out this late? Because it is too late now. And you can imagine these people that are crying right now, and it is the early days of Donald Trump being in the office. Donald Trump, he has not even finished a year. He has not even finished a year, but people they have now started crying. You can imagine. The other day I saw the white folks they were protesting in the Tesla in Elon Musk company, Tesla company. They were protesting, telling the people not to buy Tesla because Elon Musk is not in his right mind, because what of Elon Musk is doing to the people of America. And me I can tell you that right now, the white folks, they voted in for billionaires. Yeah, and these billionaires, they are now ended up setting the rules which favors them, which favors the billionaires, because we saw what happened when we saw the visitors, the billionaires who were present during Donald Trump when he was soaring in the office. So right now, these billionaires, they are now making life very difficult for the poor people, for those people who are struggling to make ends meet. Life it has become more difficult for them in America. So right now, America, it is for the rich people. If you are rich and you are America, that one, it is favoring you. But if you are a poor and you are in America right now, life it has become very hard for both black and white. So right now, Americans people, the MAGA voters, they are now regretting. Those voters who were saying make America great again, they are now realizing that this America which they want to make it great again, they are making it to the billionaires people. So kindly guys, I don't want to talk too much. You can subscribe if you haven't, like this video and share. Let's talk more on the comment section. See you on my next one. Bye bye.